What is up, everybody? Welcome back. This is Jazz here. I know you just saw Vince. Now you got me. I hope everybody's having a good night. Just hang on one second. I had another audio playing there for a second in my headphones. Had to stop that. I hope everybody's having a good night. Welcome back to Deep Dive. This is the show I like to get people that I've found in this space that are putting out positive messages, helping people, and doing good. To try to take away some of the toxicity. I like to share their experiences and their journey. And tonight, I'm very happy to have Sean with me tonight because Sean's somebody I met very early in my journey, way back when. And it's been awesome to see him grow and to see what he's been doing in the space. So without further ado, I want to bring Sean to the stage. What is up, brother?
Hey, what's going on, man? Thanks for having me.
Hey, no problem, man. How's your night going?
It's been a great night, man. It's been easy living. Things have been good. I've been really enjoying the bull market and the fruits of the labor.
Yeah, man. It's been an interesting this year so far. 2024
Oh, yeah.
has been very interesting in the market. That's for sure. A lot of stuff going on.
That's for sure. I mean, going through the bear to this bull, I mean, the excitement and all of that's there, but I think we got a lot more euphoria to go. But yeah, I mean, it's just been a crazy roller coaster. But it's good to be here. It's good to make it to the other side, I guess, and see what awaits us.
Yeah, I like to think that we're just starting, but as I've said many times on streams, this cycle is so unpredictable. There's none of us, even that have been in the last cycles, have a clue what's happening or what's going to happen. If anybody says they know, trust me, they don't.
Yeah, exactly.
I just put my seatbelt on.
I'll just like when people ask what's your plan, I'm like, well, I got a plan, but I mean, I don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. I can look at all of this, and then something happens tomorrow, and it's just, well, you got to change everything up. You got to start pivoting now, and you never know. Like there's so many different dynamics, and that's some of the stuff that I've learned getting into the spaces. There's more going on than you see, and you got to really pay attention. And I understand what being in the trenches really is now. You know.
Yeah. I mean, seeing Bitcoin all-time high pre-halving was not on any of our bingo cards.
Not at all. Not at all. Like when I really was looking at the price, I was like, what this is kind of crazy. I mean, the percentage isn't that astronomical, but just the levels that we've hit and watching everything kind of exceed it and kind of front run it, it's hard to imagine it will play out that way. But hey, man, that's the way it goes.
Yeah, I'm like that GIF where they just take papers and throw them over their shoulder, and like they're just like, I don't even know what the hell's going on right now. Just whatever. I'm starting over. That's kind of how I felt when like Bitcoin took off, and seeing the Bitcoin dominance right now. I mean, we've seen a really big pullback decently in the last couple of days. Yeah. Who knows if it's to do with what's going on in the Middle East, or if it has to do with just market makers manipulating the market like usual. Who knows what's happening? A couple days before halving, maybe they're trying to get a little more for their buck. Who knows?
Everybody's got a theory, everybody's got a thesis, and I mean, I hear them all, and then you start to think like, well, maybe they are trying to get a better price, and maybe they are trying to shake people out, and it's just like, you got to think back. What were you thinking about like 2-3 weeks ago? What was your plan? What position did you set up months ago? Like most of those are probably still going to work out. Just like I honestly. I pick a certain point on the month where I take doing this full time. I have to pay myself, right? So I pick a certain point where I'm going to be taking some kind of profits or taking some funds out, and I usually time that pretty much at the same time where I can just kind of settle back. And it worked out where everything kind of got crazy here. I had taken some funds out. I was just sitting back and doing the streams. People are asking what I'm getting into. I'm like, nothing, absolutely nothing right now. I'm just letting the market, and we'll see what happens, because I don't want to be too excited and make a move that I'm gonna regret in the next 4 days or the next day. So I really I stapled some profits before Solana went down, because I think people forget that Solana just went from $8 at the bottom to like $220. Like that's a really nice run, and if you didn't take any of that, like that's crazy to me. And like I don't think people really realize that, because they're pushing everything into memes. They're trying to get into exposure to all these other chains, like basically from our Solana community is what I'm saying. But people weren't really saying that. And then they're down back to $130 with Solana, and they're like upset about it. I'm like, whoa, we just ran up from $8. Like, you're still good. You could still take that profit and smile. Just look at where we came from. I know it's not Pico, but this is the lesson.
I think a lot of people are upset because their floor prices have come down so much,
Mm.
and now with sold down, now they're seeing their value of their NFT not worth as much. Whereas when it was $200, at least it was still worth like $600-700 at 3 soul. Whereas now
Yeah.
you're down to like 300 or 400. So people start feeling that, that's what they're looking at. I mean, a lot of people don't even look at USD value. I have always looked at USD value. Being
Yeah.
a traditional trader coming into this
It
space.
makes more sense to me when I do it that way, because I get lost in the ones like, well, first me getting into this space, I didn't know much about crypto. So people are telling me one soul is one soul. That's a coping mechanism when it's going
Yep.
down to make you feel
Yep.
better. It's not
Yep.
really one fucking soul. It's less
Nope.
money than you had before. It's hyperinflation or something like that. Like you're nuts. It's not the case there. So I once I realized that, I was like, all right, you guys are nuts, but whatever. I'm with you. One soul is one soul. But
Yeah.
I realized that's not the case pretty quickly. And when I started seeing marketplaces and stuff come out with USD next to it, I said, that's super smart, because I can show my friends now and it makes sense to them.
Yeah.
They'll understand the ratio and how to understand, all right, 4 Solana is what, 400, about 500 some dollars right now, right? But if they see $537 is what they're going out, they're like, okay, let me rationally think about this. And like you said, traditional investing, you kind of think that way. It's not as degenerate, Degenerates are like, soul, fuck it, I'm stacking soul, that's it. So it's pretty funny you say that, because I'm the same way. I look around, I'm like, can I switch this? I just want to see what the USD is real quick, because my goal, and this is just me personally, was always improve your net worth, like the USD net worth, because I don't care how much crypto you make. You never say, I want to spend this crypto. You say, I need to cash this out somewhere and be able to spend my dollars. Because like, you're
Yep.
not going to buy things. You can buy some things, but you're not buying a house in crypto. Not, I mean, maybe soon, but traditionally, it's a lot harder. You're not going to go across the street and talk to somebody and be like, hey, I'd love to buy this car. I've got 700 fucking Myros. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah,
you're not.
that's for sure.
So that's
Before
one.
we get too deep on market analysis
Oh, my
and
bad.
no, it's fine. It's totally fine. We're just bullshit. But that's the thing people need to understand. Me and Sean have known each other a while. So
Yeah.
we're just like friends. When we get to talk, we used to hang out in spaces. We've done some projects together on the side, doing like podcasts and stuff like that. So we have a really cool relationship that's very open and easy to talk to. So we just start vibing. But I just want to start the show like I usually do, and I want to ask you the question: What brought you to Web3? How did you get here? Like, what brought you into crypto, NFTs, all that? I want to hear about that. Like, how did you get
So
here?
let me ask you this: do you consider like just getting into crypto, getting into Web3? Is that the same thing to you?
I want to say stepping in the crypto is your introduction to
Okay.
Web3.
All right. So when I got into investing in general, let me start there. It was, I guess, 2021. AMC and GME were popping off, and Dogecoin was starting to get a little bit of a word or whatever online. I didn't know anything about Doge; I just saw it pop up. But AMC and GME were all over my time, not even timeline. It was all over Instagram and Facebook, because that's the social media I used. But the fact that it leaked all over there, hindsight is like, you're late. Like, you're just getting into this. You know what I mean? But you could still pick up on it. But I kept seeing it, and I was snowed in. I was working construction at the time, and I was like, what is this stuff all about? People are making heaps of money right now. And I just tapped into it and started like seeing the possibilities. And I was like, wait, you can be a retail investor. So once I started following down that rabbit hole, I literally have this book right here. I'm not kidding you, bro. Like, I used to take notes and watch YouTube videos and document every little thing. I made a glossary for all the terms that I didn't know, like page after page. And like, this is what got me interested in it. It was like finding financial freedom through just investing in financial literacy. Once I got into the stocks and options, a couple of my friends, they were running YouTube. They started talking about crypto. And once they started talking about crypto, they were saying this is where you can make bigger gains, kind of similar to the way that options run. And that's what I really understood, was the exponential growth, quick and in and out kind of stuff, day trading and all of that. Well, NFTs were just like that when I got into it, because you could basically buy a mint, and that thing, in a couple hours, maybe a couple minutes, you could sell it and flip it pretty quickly. And back to what I was saying with like the social media stuff, seeing everybody post like, I bought this for $500, and in 3 weeks it was 30 grand and stuff like that. That was very common, and that was drawing everybody into this NFT, this crypto thing. So I was at this point getting into Ethereum, Bitcoin, that kind of stuff. Like, didn't even know what Solana was at this point. It was just those two were the first ones, because you can get on Cash App and all that kind of stuff. So like, all of this AMC stock, degenerate stuff, all of it was all going on at the same time. I'm sitting here trying to figure out, how can I, like, I've been doing construction probably at 14 years at this point, and like, I knew this wasn't, I had more to do. Like I had a background in tech stuff. I love computers, but I was just like, I don't know. I'm not making enough money here. I need to figure out a way. Once I realized that there's a way and I started studying this, literally I spent 14 hours one day when I was dating this girl snowed in and basically didn't even do anything else. Barely got up and just studying, watching videos, taking notes, studying, like practicing, doing paper trading on all these accounts like Weeble and stuff like that. And some of them you sign up, you get free money. So I was like, all right, let me just practice this. And I started seeing a pattern. I was like, damn, I'm making more money. Like at a certain point, I made more money than going to work. So like I was sitting there day trading up to my knees in snow down at Rehoboth Beach, like building this building, freezing. I'm like, at some point, dude, this is not it. I got to get out of this. And then the next thing I did, then at the same time, like I was starting to work for myself. So I would take probably a huge chunk of my check and throw it into crypto because it was running up. And I was like, I'm making more money, just put my money into this. And I'm starting to see the whole cycle, how this whole crypto thing works. And people were saying, you know, there's a bull run, there's a bear market. I didn't understand that part, so we'll get there. But it was just basically finding a way to leverage your own money and make it grow quicker to buy some freedom. Then the goal was to get to doing this full time. So once I was able to have the freedom to be creative and do all the stuff I love, I can kind of just like pour that passion out. You know what I mean? So crypto just showed opportunity, and then basically YouTube to Twitter, and that's why my handle was just my name. I had no idea what I was doing. I was like trying to figure out the next ticker, trying to figure out the next coin, and like get into spaces because those are starting to pop off. And I had no idea like what was going on. And I saw the Ethereum NFTs going crazy, like on the timelines and all of that. And I was like, man, I really got to try this. Sure enough, man, I get my Ethereum, swap it over, rugged. Instantly rugged. Instantly. Like first one, $500. Fastest I've ever lost that money. I mean, maybe I lost it faster, but that was pretty quick. And I was like, just in disappointment, like, what am I doing? And then I was like, that can't be it, you know. And then I reached out to the Discord, saw that there's community, saw that other people were going through these kinds of things, and that's where it was like, all right, man, like I'm not the only one going through this. This is an you know, an error, and you know, it's not a lesson, not an error. It's not like I didn't make a mistake because I didn't know. You know, I learned something at that point. That's where I look at everything, and then I was like, man, there's got to be another way. Then the next one I bought, I made some money on it. I was like, all right, well, let's just figure this out. So that kind of just led on to growing in communities with Discord, Twitter, having the friends kind of like relating to them. But it was just bottom line, like I saw freedom, I saw opportunity, I saw chances, and I did not see the bear market coming. So like it got rough. But basically at the end of that year, I was going to quit my job, go back to school, because I also thought like if I'm investing my money, my time, I better invest in some little bit of education because I like computers, I like internet stuff, and I wanted to get back in internet security. When I was like 11, I taught myself how to like hack and like use dial-up computers and stuff with like programs and all this crazy stuff. So it's like I never got away from being kind of nerdy, even though I was doing all these sports and everything else, skateboarding. It was just kind of like in the back, you know, when I get done playing GoldenEye or something on the Nintendo 64, I went back on the computer. And once I realized I want to get back into school, like I started studying on that, and that's kind of what I wanted to do was internet security because of the rugs, because of like the issues that were going on. I wanted to learn blockchain security because it's just like if I can learn to help people avoid, and that's where this all kind of came from. Was like I want to share my experience with people, how I'm learning this, because it's not the easiest thing in the world, and if I can bring it down to like I can talk to you over a beer, like at a table or dinner, or you know what I mean, or a coffee or something like that, and you can understand it, and you've never really been introduced to crypto, then like that was my goal, is to be able to talk to somebody at the dinner table and have them understand what we're doing here. So it was just basically get into this, found the freedom, wanted to share my experience with it, and I realized like there's a need for it because some of the people and we can get to marketing and stuff later, but like it was like it made me feel like a sleazy salesman on some of these people that were talking, and they're trying to sell me stuff, and I could just see right through it. I was like, this is not the way. Like I want to show you value, I want to show you where I find opportunity. You know what I mean? I don't want you to just copy this, listen to my advice, because you know that's what the people are pretty much just dumping on you when they're doing that, you know. And it's just like I saw through all the bullshit really quick. So I was like, let me just share my experience. And before we got on this, we were talking, like, I didn't know anything about videos except for filming skate videos, you know, just with the phone. So I was like, I'll just set my phone up and we'll see what happens here. Like,
Yeah.
you guys can go to my YouTube and see it, man. I have the worst videos, but I kept them there just to remember, like, yo, you came from here and maybe nobody was looking, and I didn't care because it was like I'm creating, I'm sharing, and I'm growing. And
Yeah,
you know,
you learn from those experiences, man. Like, and I want to touch on a few things that you went through there. So when you got into crypto in 2021, you know, we were coming out of a bull cycle, and to
mhm,
anybody that was new, you had no idea. You
mhm,
just saw prices were just going down every week, and you're like,
yeah,
it's only went down a little bit. Solana went from 250, it's 240, no big deal. It's 230 now, and whatever, you know. And it just gradually got lower, but we were leveraging NFTs at the time, and we were making a lot of good money in the end of 2021 and 2022. Because, like you said,
yeah,
you could mint something, you could mint it for like 1 SOL and then sell it for 5 SOL in 10 minutes.
yeah,
How can you get mad at that? You know what I mean? And then you would just take that money and like me personally, I would just reinvest that money. So I was still playing with the same 1 SOL, and and if I did get rugged, I just started over. But
yeah, yeah.
I still was making good money because I was still putting money off to the side.
Hmm, hmm.
But the other part of what you were saying too, it's funny because like when I first met you, I was still new to NFTs, and we were kind of learning together. And that's what's cool about communities is you get in the right community and you learn from a lot of people, just like you could learn from doing videos just by being on other YouTubes with other people and like, oh,
Right,
that's
right.
why you guys do that. That's cool. Let me try that. And it's the same thing because I remember like when I first met you, you know, we were all on a project together and we were just doing spaces every week and we would
Hmm.
all hang out. And then we would just like people in the community we just do community spaces and we just hang out and we would just bullshit and we got to
Yeah,
know
yeah.
each other, you know. And like I learned that you were an artist and I learned that you were a skateboarder, you know, and I learned that you kind of lived close to me at the time because I was living up in Jersey at
Yeah,
the time.
when we crossed that path, I was like, that's too funny. Like we definitely crossed paths somewhere.
Yeah,
And
yeah, yeah.
one of
Because I mean, you grew up right outside of Philly. I mean, I was always in Philly,
the,
and it's
mhm,
funny because you did like spray painting and stuff like that, and that's a crazy art. Like that's a actual like a really cool visual art, and it's a
mhm,
lot of talent in it because it's all about feel and touch and practice.
mhm.
You know, it's not just just like painting is practice and feel. So is spray painting. So it's an underrated like art setting, so to say. Like people don't
Yeah.
appreciate it, but I think it's a very awesome art. And it's funny because the first project we got into, it had spray paint kind of in it, you know, and that's kind of what gravitated
Yo,
you
you
into
know,
that.
like the dude Taste, Taste, I know that guy. Like
Yeah,
I
the guy
literally
that did,
I
yeah,
sent him a picture and he was like, dude, what the fuck is this? I was like, bro, don't worry about it. He was like, this is crazy. Can I get one? I was like, yeah, I got you. And he never hit me back on there. But I actually knew that guy. I was like, what are the fucking odds of this? This is so nutty.
But it's funny too because you were talking about how like eventually and like watching, like I said in the pre-roll of the show, like how I've seen your journey. Like me, I've seen you from the end of 2021 till now, and the growth and what you've done in the space is absolutely amazing. I love to see it. You know, there was a time in there, I think it was 2022, where we got together with a couple other guys and we were doing like podcasts on the weekends and we were like interviewing projects and we were like
Mhm.
hanging out. And it was kind of like my early days of getting into podcasting because I was never in the podcasting. I was in the streaming, I was in the music, but I
Right.
never tried the podcasting. You know me, I would sit in the background, and wait till the very end, just come out with all my questions and be like, blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
But you know, you guys would interview the projects and it was cool. But it's cool to see that you went from like us hanging out in spaces and trying to educate each other and learn with each other to
Mhm.
now where you're doing Solana Made Simple. And it's I love the play on your initials, man, because SMS has always been your initials and
Yeah.
it's always been Sean. I know your last name because you
Yeah.
used to have it because like you said, it used to be your name. So
Yeah, I mean,
I
my
know it's
shit's
just
out
your
there. I've never hit it. Like once it was there, I was like, well, I mean, if anything, I'm gonna use this for my power. People are like, this guy can't lie. Like, we'll just fucking
Wait,
find him.
I
Like,
love seeing you reimage it. Like now you've changed your handle on Twitter to Stack More Soul, and you have Solana Made Simple. Trust me, I noticed, man. I'm an
yeah,
observer,
I
so like
appreciate it.
it's cool to see. And like and now seeing you do the education that you were just talking about, how you want to like bridge the gap and teach people, and that's what you're doing with Solana Made Simple. If you guys out here listening, you're looking for a place to go and you don't really know what's going on, Sean's doing an awesome thing. He's doing it on Twitter, and you know, I forget the frequency you're doing it at, but he just pretty much breaks it down for you. And like when we first started out, and what I loved about Sean is like every project I was in, he would do a YouTube video on and talk about the project and he put it out there. Like this is before anybody was doing YouTube. You know what I mean? With NFTs, nobody was
Yeah,
doing NFTs, and they were talking about crypto. They were talking about rugs and a way to get your money, but they weren't doing like he'd be like, oh, I'm gonna do a video, and he would like investigate the project, and then he would do a video. And it was awesome to see because we used to always appreciate all the projects I used to work and he used to do videos for the projects to help promote them. I used to love it, man. And it was cool because he would break it down. He would go and buy some, you know, and like, so it was cool to see you go from that into where we are now. Like
mhm.
I love seeing the growth, man. So I just want to commend you on that growth, man, and just let you
I
know
appreciate
that
that.
I've noticed it. You know that you might think it's unnoticed, but you know I've seen you grow in this space, and I love to see it because you don't see people usually grow on the way up. Usually they get toxic, they fall off, they get colluded, like the mental capacity just goes to shit in this space because it's so
Yeah,
toxic.
it's not the easiest thing. I'll say that. But I got passion. I found something that I like to do, and like one of the things I've learned early is if you find something you like to do, don't ever ask for money. And eventually, somebody might pay you to do it. But like,
Mhm.
don't ever work the fun out of like your hobby. And if you do that, that means like you just don't like it. It becomes like if you're an artist and you start doing something and it becomes a job, you just don't have anything to like get away anymore. Like you lose that. So if something comes, that's a byproduct of hard work. That's something I've always said, and that comes with pretty much everything. Like if you work hard, you will reap the fruits of that labor. That's just the nature of the beast. So it was just a process. It's a journey, and like I said, when somebody decided to tell me like, "Hey, you should make content," I was like, "Why?" They're like, "Ah, you just talk pretty good, I guess." I was like, "All right, fuck it, whatever." I just all I did was just go to their white page, start reading through that, and like have these 15-minute long videos of me just breaking it down. But that's where I saw value. That's where I wanted to share that, and that was me learning how to like do videos. I could look back and be like, absolute trash. Post it anyway. Let's see what
Yeah.
happens.
Yeah,
But
but you know, projects that I was working with, and I was working with teams, and we were trying to, you know, build stuff. We loved having that video because it was a good promo tool. It was a good way, like, you know, especially with like Wasteland, there's like you broke down like the whole ecosystem and
yeah,
how it works. So like it was easy to like, hey, just check out this video to explain it to somebody. So like, you know, it was always appreciated, like that you always did that stuff. And it's funny you mentioned the thing that we all mentioned. You got rugged right away. And I want to say that's a blessing in this space. You got to lose money. And just this goes for all investing. If
yeah,
you don't lose money in the beginning, you'll never respect the trade. You'll because you'll always feel entitled to be winner. Like if I
yeah,
was to go gamble and I went to a slot machine, I put $1 in, I won $10,000, I'd be ruined. I need to lose money so I can respect that
yeah.
win. You
Yeah,
know, and
you'd
it's
be
the
like, I'm
same
gonna
thing
win
with
all the time now.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
Like NFTs are the same way, and so does tradings and stock. Like if you were making trades and you're just making money all the time, like you'll never be prepared for that loss. So it was good that
yeah.
you got rugged because it prepared you now that you're like, wait a minute.
I was very, very like hesitant. I was slowed down the process, asked a lot more questions, and kind of saw where I made my error there. And it was, I just the worst part is every time you like get rug, you kind of know it as soon as you press buy. You're like click, and then you look back up. You're like, how do I have rank one?
Yeah,
Ah,
yeah.
oh shit. You know what? This is a fucking rug. Like it was that quick. I was like, man, this is so bad. But hey, that was literally the first one. It's still in my MetaMask. That's my trophy. And I'll keep that. I'll take that to the death. I mean, I might even print it out at some point. But there's a couple things I want to touch back on that I missed as far as the crypto. I want to tell you this story about how I really, really got into this level of crypto. So I was just investing into Bitcoin and Ethereum, like I was saying. But I was also getting ready to leave my job and started working for myself. So I was literally hustling. Like I was cutting grass, started my own landscaping company. I was doing furniture installs for people in the college town around me, like anything I could do because I knew if like I did this many, that's this many Solana because I was just stack my soul, stack my soul. That was literally the name of the game. So I ran into this one guy and I saw on his wall, he had like money, Lamborghinis, like just everything you can imagine degenerate wise. And like, you know, the result of being good at crypto or making it out of crypto for some of these guys. Well, I looked at his wall and like I also saw coins like a Bitcoin, there's Ethereum symbol, like a bunch of different things. I was like, what do you know about this stuff? Because like I'm, you know, like I said, in this book, I'm balls deep in this stuff right now. And he laughed. He said, "Well, what do you know?" And I was like, "Well, thinking I knew something." He was like, hold on, let me break some game down, dude. I'm telling you, like the most humble guy. Like you would never like. He didn't have a flashy car. He lived in a regular townhome. You know what I mean? Like you would never guess this shit, bro. He started breaking it down. He was like, "Come on upstairs with me. I want to show you some things and show you how you can get things." He was showing me like silver. Like my desk is about like this wide. He had a trunk probably about this wide, like maybe deeper than my desk, like huge, filled with gold, like silver bars. I was like, "What the fuck is this?" And then he showed me a dresser, pulled out all these drawers, like stacks of hundreds. I was like, "What is this?" And then he was like, "This is from investing into crypto very early." He was buying Ethereum at like $17, like maybe even cheaper than that. Said he was buying like Solana when it was like in pennies, and like I think he said he was buying Bitcoin back in like the early days, but he was like an investing banker. He worked for HSBC. Like he just knew money, but he saw this opportunity. And he just broke game down to me on like how to invest in the meme coins. And he like when all the e-news were going out, right? So I started like my landscaping business. Everything I invested went into Shiba, and like he was telling me how to track it. Like I literally have like a guide and a schedule and like just certain dates. I know exactly what day I sold it because I didn't know what I was doing, and I knew how much it was worth. And it was November 4th, 2021. If you look on the chart, like that's like the Pico top of Shiba. And this is like my mentor, like kind of just telling me like how to do this, how to, if you come up on $1,000 off 100, to break that down into maybe 5 or 6 different trades, like put it into all these different chances, because maybe 2 out of 6 hits, and that's all you need. You know, some of those L's just wipe them off the board. You hit these ones, then you're into so many more, and you just let that stuff run. Taught me about moon bags back then, and taught me about rugs. I was like, what the fuck is a rug pull? Like, it was like, that's when it's just rugs. Like, they pull it out. I was like, oh shit. Like, dude, I was literally learning on the fly. But he showed me how to do this stuff, and that's when I was leaving. I sold my Shiba at the same time. The amount of money I saved and made and invested by just learning through the tail end of that bull run, I didn't get hurt like a lot of people did, because I fucking sold like in November. I sold almost everything I had, and I went back to school. And then actually, my when I was going to quit my job, my boss, he was like, "You just want to go on unemployment?" I was like, yeah, why? He was like, yeah, we're slowing down. We can lay off. I was like, I'll take it. And that was it. Like, I didn't have to quit my job. I just took the unemployment, rode that through my first semester, had enough money to get through like another 6 months without having to work again. And I just kept learning, kept building. And I realized going to school, my focus was so deep into making content that it was hard to balance that struggle. And I was like, I love what I'm learning, and I had a 4.0 GPA, like killing it. That shit, like I'm 85% done my associates with that, and it's not going to take much to finish it. But I just realized my passion is here. This is what I want to do: create, invest, learn, grow, art. All of this comes into one. Any idea you have in Web3 and crypto, I learned, is possible if you're willing to put in the work. Like, Solana Made Simple wasn't anything, but a lot of people know who SMS and what Solana Made Simple is. I've had people, volunteer and work for me, and like I could pay them. I told them straight up, I was like, this isn't a job if I can give you something. And I gave them what I could give them. And like, it was more than I would get from NFT projects. I'll tell you that much. Like, all they had to do was show up and have a good time. And it's like, I realized like at some point, my goal is to make Solana Made Simple somebody's income. I want somebody to be able to work for me and sign their check, be like, look, good job. I want somebody to be appreciated for their work. At the end of the day, like at the end goal of what this is. When I was really, really little, I did my signature, and my license, it's just SMS. Like, and I said my name will be worth something someday. I swear to God, I told my dad this shit one time. He was like, what do you mean? And then we were talking the other day, because remember I told you we were supposed to do this. He actually had his ankle reconstructed. I told him, I was like, yo, I missed this interview thing. I had to be on there. He was like, oh, don't worry about it. But at the end of the conversation, he was like, you should really LLC your SMS thing. Like, it's going to be worth something. You're right. And I was like, no shit. Like, so like started thinking about that, and
trademark it, man.
Yeah, then that's kind of like what he was saying, and it's just like it showed me, man, like within crypto, within just believing in yourself, like you can get out of that rigorous trap. Like that job that I was working at, no matter how hard I worked, I would never make over what they gave me. Even if I worked all the overtime available, there's only a certain amount of Saturdays and Sundays you can work. You can never get past that. And like once I saw that, I was like, oh, fuck. So I never went back.
And it's a life value that you're talking about. It's manifestation. It's like you plant the seed in your brain and you make it happen. Like people don't realize that life really happens this way. Like if you're positive and you feed yourself positive thoughts and you manifest what you want in life and you visualize it every day and you see it and you affirm it, it happens. And I'm not even fucking around, because that's how I made my life what I made it. That's how I was successful, and got where I got, because I told myself every day, I'm going to do this. I'm going to do this. And it has nothing to do with investing. I'm talking about like career wise,
anything in life.
Yeah. Just like, and being successful to the point that I can live a good life and be comfortable and, not have to stress. Like I created it. I visualized it.
If you see that, like, it's hard to unsee that. And like, once you're in a position that that you can leverage yourself in a position with time and money to make it work for your advantage. And like, there are sacrifices we got to make. It's time. We got to be around things and like kind of just cut some things off. But the goal is to open up that time where you can spend it with other people and like give back to things and stuff like that. And I've been able to do that now, and it's something I've learned is like, no matter how much I want to get out of this game, I want to be giving twice as much. Like I want to be a service. Like the people that provide some service to everybody, those are the most successful people. The people that just try to like get something or they look out for team first, you are the biggest fucking losers in the world, because like you will lose it. I promise you. The world does not work that way, and it does not give back if you're just taking for yourself first. I promise you. And I've learned that from just a rough life, you know what I mean? So me coming into this space, I've learned that I'm a very different breed of like NFT crypto investor. I'm a very open spoken kind of person, and I don't pull punches, and like I'm pretty fair. I'm not out here to maliciously hurt anybody, you know what I mean? And it's like some people just still have a problem with what I have to say, and I'm like, what
you're being honest. That's the
yeah,
problem. And
I'm
you're
a
just being
very
real.
genuine kind of person.
Yeah. And that's one of the reasons why I wanted to have you on the show, man, because I saw this in you when I first met you, that you were real. And when we used to do like those podcasts, like I loved the way you investigated projects, how you looked into things and the questions you asked. And it's good to see that like in this space, because you don't see it that often. And you're damn right. If you give without the want of getting something back, you're rewarded in life. And I am a perfect example of that, because my whole life I've been this way. I've always been a giver, and I've always been blessed. And it just goes to tell you that that's probably why I've never been that selfish person where I'm like, oh, give me, me. And I've never had to suffer, you know.
Well, I think that was part of my problem. Is like I remember just wanting to grind so fucking hard, and like there's this guy, the Black Wall Street, that does this like this whole podcast and stuff, and it was like his whole thing was, we grew up grinding and wanting to get more and hustling and figuring out how to get it, but we never knew what to do once we got it. You know what I mean? It was just like grind. We never knew how to make money work, you know? And once I realized like one way to like, you work, you grind, you get this, you give back. You just give back to whatever you got, and you make sure that you're taken care of. And there's this thing that I learned from what he was saying is, you get people what they want, you end up with everything you need. Yep. And I was like, damn, that's so deep. Like, all right, who needs something? You know what I mean? Who needs something right now? Who can I help? You know? And it's sometimes it's as silly as that, but it's a game like that. You know, if you come up, like look around, like who's in the most need, and if you got it, just skim that off the top, you know, and see if it doesn't come back. You might not ever realize when it does, and it'll hit you at some point in your life. Be like, oh shit, you know what I mean? That's tight. But no, that's the biggest thing with what I've learned in this space is like 2023 was my, like I literally said in January, I'm going to be a servant to this space. I'm going to be like of service to people, projects. Every single week I brought on numerous projects. I brought them on there because first it was just recording videos and breaking them down. But I wanted to do this. I wanted to be on spaces. I was with a couple groups. They didn't give me the opportunity to come up and speak and kind of share my thoughts or kind of like be part of that team. So I was like, all right, let me just kind of distance myself. And it was honestly most people telling me no. So I just decided to do my own thing. And I was like sitting there thinking about what could I do? Solana, this, Solana made. I was like, Solana made simple. That's my initials. And that's where it came from. And after that, I was like, all right, I'll do spaces Sundays and just bring people on. I know enough people in these projects. I've covered all of these. So I went back to all the YouTube videos I did. I was like, hey, do you guys want to come on? Like I came up when Texture first launched, and I was like one of the first people that had them, juicy vendors. And then I got to see all these people like a year later being successful in this space. And like now I have connections and networks and contacts. And it's like, I just saw this thing growing, and like more and more people came in there. But doing that for a year, I'll tell you what, you learn a lot about people, projects, and this whole space. And like I tell people no now. Like I learned no, you know, and this year I said, look, I've done enough. I love to look into these things. I'll still do it when I want to, when I'm even invested into it more than likely. But like there was a point where I had to just remember, hey, it's okay to say no and like move on to that next level. Like I have a good understanding and advisory kind of level of like projects. I can really, you know, run through them. If that was ever to come up, it's like something that maybe I'd think about. But now it's like, I want to be involved with these conversations. I want to talk with people in the space. I want to bounce ideas. I want to see your perspectives. I want to grow on that level of like news media. And like once I got hired on with Gox G Media, like that's where I really saw like the avenue that I wanted to go down. Content creation around worldwide views and like blockchain finance. And on top of that, bro, self-help motivational stuff is so big to me. Like I wouldn't be here with the stuff we were just talking about. Like if I didn't believe in that, like up here, I have goals like for this month. I have everything written down. I have retired by this age on my wall in there. Like, dude, I write notes all over the place.
What's the age, man? What's the age you're retiring at?
40.
Nice. Get
like,
it, man.
I don't consider me like, all right, so I exceeded this or expedited this a little bit by this last 2 years. I got to a point where I don't have to work. I don't have to do anything except for this. I have to keep making money, you know, but that becomes work. So I have a schedule. I wake up literally, I have an index card somewhere around here. Yeah, right over here. The shit's broken down like to a T. Like my schedule for work from 4 to 12. Like that's workout, get online, look up stuff, be in spaces, run my stream. 12 o'clock, I stop. I start a new day basically. So all right, now I get back on the cycle and I start going back through it. And it's just like I live the life I want to because I started writing it down. What is it going to take me to live this life? I want to work out first. That's the first thing I want to do when I wake up. And then I want to go get coffee, eat, and then I want to do my online stuff and trade. And like I still got stocks and options to do 2 days a week if I want to do that. But I just created a life I wanted to from doing all of this stuff, and it gave me the ability to like give back more. Like I got a couple goals in mind that I'm trying to get to, but you know, it's a matter of growing this thing. And I mean, I have a couple ideas, I have a couple things, but it doesn't take. This is the other thing. It doesn't take NFTs to be successful for what I want to do in this space anymore.
No, well, I think you're on the right page because like when Vince and you know, back in the Wastelander days is when Decoders was it came to fruition. Vince had this idea. We were at a pivot stage. You know, it was just Vince. The rest of the team left Vince. He was the dev. There's not much a dev can do by himself. You know what I mean? You lost your community guys. You lost everybody in the front for you. And when you're just the dev, it's hard to like really do everything yourself. So like, but this is where Vince grew because he now tries to do everything himself with the coders, but he doesn't need to because he has the support of the team, which are the same people that were supporting him, but from a different angle back then. And then we had a team call one day. It was just me, Risha, and Ryan and Vince, and he pitched the idea of the coders, and I was like, let's do it because content is king. Like, and I think you understand that like where we're going in this space, content is really a big part of it and is going to continue to grow.
Absolutely.
NFTs, crypto, all of it, it all is going to revolve around on content.
Yeah.
And I think that your angle and where you're heading with the content angle, I think is right because like you said, NFTs aren't going to just get you there. Crypto ain't just going to get there. The content itself will probably get you there along with it all.
Lifestyle, culture kind of stuff. People that can relate to it and want to tap in. Like when you create fans, like that's one thing with being somebody in the space that wants to like be in this full time. You need to have a community and a fan base, and you need to have people that want to like see you show up. So like that's like what your job is, to show up for your people. You know what I mean? Like riding out. Like I always tell people, if you show up to my table, everybody's gonna eat. You know, and it's just like I realized doing the spaces, I was just so focused on spaces and numbers and spaces and numbers. I was like, I'm not looking at content. Like it was a bear market, so it was okay. But like I just wasn't looking at making content. I wasn't looking at making videos. I realized there was a huge gap in what I was doing, and like once it like hit me, I was like, I want to get back to like what I came here to do and like what my goal was. What I want Solana Made Simple on YouTube to be big. Like I want to funnel people to that. It wasn't like growing the Twitter thing. Like that just happened by doing spaces and being here for so long. And like
I think showing up every day really goes a long way.
Yeah.
You know? And those habits that you have and that card and that schedule, I don't think people realize that. If you're out there and you're listening, you're trying to get into content creation, what Sean's doing is what you need to do. You need to hit it every day. Like Vince right now is doing a daily show where he wakes up and he does a daily show and puts it together and puts it out later in that day. And it's something he did for himself. He probably doesn't even have the time to do it, but he knows that if he wants to continue to grow the channel, he has to keep trying different things and different angles and fresh things.
Yeah. And he's really, I look at that every month. He recaps himself, and I see that like he's very, very self-analytic when it comes down to it, because he looks to see what he can do, and he looks at like the team. Like I've talked to him in the back alleys just kind of about stuff like that. Like what do you think? What do you see? And I'm like, you're doing great shit. It's just it's a matter of time kind of thing. And I think people forget that when it comes to content, like content's not like a fucking NFT. You're not gonna minute and it just goes off. There are some people, because they have following, like some people started after me and just blew the fuck up, and like they just got enough friends that just kind of like help push it that way. I'm okay with not being first fiddle. I don't care about that. I wasn't when I started, and I'm not. My goal wasn't to be the number one top dog. I want to be the most consistent, reliable, and bring you the most vibes and value that I can. I'm not gonna like completely change my angle for that. There are some things I needed to change. I could not just continue to do NFTs. I needed to start talking about crypto. I need to start talking about Solana, the technology. Like there's such a deep understanding of this technology. When I start to talk to people, they're like, what the fuck did you just say? I'm like, token 22, extensions, hooks. You don't know anything about like what they're doing. And nobody has any idea. They're so focused on flipping these NFTs and making the meme coins. I'm like, you realize the underlying like value here is this technology here, and they're like, yeah, whatever. I'm like, bro, this doesn't succeed. This is out the window.
Yeah,
This
I
needs
know.
to succeed for this to work.
Like
This,
people ask about my bags, and like this last 18 months, like I've been DCAing in the cryptos, and they're all related to ISO, and they're all related to interoperability and those kind of technologies and blockchain. It has nothing to do with what I think is going to 1000x. I invested in the cryptos that I think will make me decent money in this next cycle. And don't get me wrong, I throw darts. You were talking about earlier, where you 2 out of 6. That's all you need, and that's
yeah,
when we're playing meme coins, man. Don't throw $1,000 at one coin. Throw $100 at 10 coins.
yeah.
You know, throw darts. Just throw some darts.
But that's the other thing is
Yeah.
like I got pretty good with understanding budgeting. If we're just round numbers, let's say you have $50,000 net worth, you should not be going heavy. You should have like maybe $5,000 in meme coins. That should be more than enough to get you where you need to be if you're doing it right. If you go past that, like maybe you should go into a little bit safer strategy. I don't know, but like that doesn't seem like it's working out. But I know there are people that will just throw $5,000 onto one meme coin. I'm like,
Yeah. Well, I
if
mean,
you
if you
hit,
got it, you got it. I mean, it is
yeah,
what
if
it
you
is.
hit, you hit, whatever. But that's too rich for my blood. I mean, I've been in deep in some plays and they paid off, but like I knew what I was doing. I knew that like there was strike prices. I had a certain amount that I was willing to go into this, and I knew like, hey man, like this is also a game. No matter how safe and I'm talking like you have to take shots sometimes. You have to. And
Yeah.
if you don't take that shot, like you're gonna have that slow grind, and you'll still probably make it. But man, this is the space. This is the time where you have opportunity. This dip that you just had. This is what I was saying earlier. It's like I took some profits and stuff. I just stabled some coins and some other shit. Just like skimmed off the top of a couple of things that I was up on. Took some here, sold some stuff there, and I was like, cool. And then it crashed. I was like, wait, I was gonna use this to no, I'm gonna go back here and buy some of this real quick. And then everything came back within that 18-hour room or window. And I was like, okay, then I'm gonna take that back out. Now I got a little bit more, and it just I stick to that routine. Like, what was it, the 15th? Yeah, it was about the 15th or the 14th. I stayed with some up the middle of the month. It's just like that's how I pay myself, And it just I go down that route so I don't have to do it. Some months I don't have to at all, and everything's cool. But it just put me in a position to win. And that's one of the things that you learn over time is like as all of this stuff's going on, like if you're still investing trying to win, like you need to scale out some for any given reason. Like everything can go down. And like that could just be what you're holding on to.
Yeah,
So
like even me right now, like I'm looking at traditional cycles, and I'm like looking at, but you gotta think about it. We're still early in crypto, guys. This is only the 4th cycle.
yeah.
I mean, it's only you know what I mean? Like last cycle I was active. So like if I'm just using last cycle and I'm looking at historical data on Bitcoin and altcoins, and then seeing what happened this cycle, I can't compare it because like we've already hit all-time high. It's not even the halving haven't happened. Are altcoins going to run? They usually run after the halving. Is this going to happen still? Like, what's going on? Like,
Yeah, that's a confusing one. When meme coins front run Bitcoin and all that, I was like, what the hell? Like I thought we do this the other way, guys. What's going on here? But I mean,
I don't think NFTs are dead. I think I see a lot of people on the timeline playing that narrative because one person probably said it that had 100,000 followers. Like, yeah, that's right. No, it's not right. I'm buying NFTs now, like I was buying crypto when Bitcoin's 15,000.
are you buying OG or are you buying valued in it? Like what? How do you?
I'm stacking ones that I already have faith in because I
Okay,
believe in the teams.
okay.
I don't
That's
have
dope.
many. I don't have many NFTs. I'm not spreading out. I'm just stacking the pile of what I'm confident in because I
Yeah,
know I see the teams working, and I know they're showing up every day, and I know they're doing the work, and I know they've in 2023 they rebuilt and they did everything they need to do. So now they can walk into the bull cycle with their heads up and scale. And
yeah.
they're in the right position. So those are the projects that I'm investing in. When I say I'm like investing in NFTs, I'm putting more money into the NFTs that I'm already confident in.
Gotcha.
But I'm not just going out and buying a bunch of NFTs right now because there's a lot of projects out there that the founders aren't showing up every day.
Okay.
But there are ones that are still in the trenches. Just to name a few, like I love seeing the geckos still out there. We just had Sav from Tombstone on talking about Sapphire and his AI. That man has been working since the mint. He's never not showed up, or a Tombstone. That guy's always been there. Of course, you got the famous foxes, you got the blocksmith groups. We still see Frank on the timeline, still putting stuff out there, whether you like it or not. He still shows up, and when he doesn't show up, people need you need a mental health break. You need it in this space. If you don't take it, you're going to lose your shit.
Look, man, one thing about that dude, he's established himself. He has a community that shows up. Like that's part of creating a community. It takes a little bit of that stress off you, and it works for you. Like and in this space specifically. But those are great projects. Like this is the advantage we have now. The problem we had before is so many projects were coming out, didn't have things built. We're giving you this like these hopeful dreams of these things coming out. Now we have established, built, running, like provable systems and things where you can really invest into a company, not just an idea. Like we have crossed that. There are still like you just said, things that are coming out where it is more than an idea and you can get into it early right now, and it's going to be volatile and it may not work, but like that's, you're early in that one. But like you just said, like Famous Fox, I mean, it's almost a sin that those things are under 10 sold, but it is. Like I was debating between them and the Cyber Frogs, and I just went through and I swept a couple more Cyber Frogs.
I mean, my biggest bags right now are I work with the Jelly team. A lot of people know I still work with them. Carlos, I've been a big fan of his, and his team has always been solid. They show up every day, and I get to see it because I'm in the team chats. I'm behind the scenes. I get to see him showing up every day. So that's where most of my money went on this downtrend. Is I've upped my game there because I've seen the businesses they built. I know that the scaling is there, and I'm super bullish on them. And I'm not pitching it. I'm not telling you guys to go buy it. I'm just speaking about my own bags and where I'm putting my money and why. Because why I invest in teams. I've always invested in teams.
Yeah, they got a good team.
Yeah, and if I see a team showing up every day, and like I said, I've been blessed to be able to work with them for the last year, and just seeing how they work. Me as somebody, and Sean, I've worked with a lot of projects in 2022. I worked as an advisor, and I would just go in, I would help people pre-mint, and because I was very good at pivoting, I was very good at understanding the market and like seeing like a mint go bad and knowing how to advise the project what they should do. Because when you're minting a project and you're the project founders, you can't think straight when the mint doesn't go as well, because you get all flustered. So you need someone with their head on straight. They'll say, hey guys, let's try this. Let's do this. Let's do this. And it worked countless times. I got so many projects through mint where they were able to mint out a slow mint, or they were able to like halt the mint and come back and hit it hard. So I worked with a lot of teams, and I've seen a lot of like amateurs. I've seen a lot of teams that didn't know what they were doing. They just, I could do an NFT project. And I helped a lot of teams like that. But when I started working with Jelly, I just kind of like stepped in the back. I was like, let me know when you guys need me to do what you need me to do. And pretty much I'm this community guy. I work the server, I work the people, I talk to the people, I help the community. That's my job. And I understand my job, and that's all they need me for. But if they need some advice, of course I'm there to give it, but they don't usually, because their team is so solid and they're just pros at what they're doing. So it's a blessing to see teams out there like that. And like, I love working with Vince. Like he is so driven. Like it's insane. Like I would never agree to sign on to any project and be a part of it if the person couldn't like outwork me 1,000 times. Same thing goes in real life. You should never work for a manager that can't outwork you.
I tell people I would never ask you to do something I wouldn't be willing to do, and that's how I would always lead it. And if I would not want to work for somebody like that, and I've done it, and I'm like, not again.
No, because you're just gonna do their job for them while they make the better money, because they're just gonna pawn it off on you and say you do it.
People are scared to step away from that because they're like, well, what happens if I don't have any money coming in? I'm like, you gotta find something. But anyway, that's it's good to have a team. And one thing about that, man, is like you can like. A team is going to win a championship. You can be the most talented, best person in the world, and you're going to win the game. But when it comes to the real deal, to like win the champion, you need that team. You need people to rely on. And I've seen so many people, and people have asked me, and I'm like, I don't have the manpower to like come in and help you, and you don't have it as it is, and like nor honestly the funds for some of these things. And it's not like it's an arm and a leg, but like some people just didn't have that. And I mean, I've tried to help so many small projects along the way with like doing this. It's like I had to be honest with some people, like, bro, this is the situation, man. Like, this is gonna be really, really hard for you to like realistically do this, and they don't want to hear that shit sometimes. But it's like, bro, like, if I'm your friend, I'm gonna like, if we were hanging out and you had mustard on your shirt, I'm gonna be like, bro, you got mustard on your shirt. I'm not gonna hang out with you all day and not fucking tell you got mustard on your shirt. You know?
People see them laughing at me, you're just like, I know.
Exactly. So like when I would be in projects to like be a fucking community member, I'd reach out and be like, yo, like I'm not trying to step on toes, I want to give you some feedback. And some people would receive it, some people be like, yeah, we know we're underwater, like we're fucking swamped. And it's just like I realize, I don't want to be involved with projects unless I know that people are trying and working hard. And unfortunately, most people aren't. You get lucky, but most people.
I mean, honestly, it's probably a number, and I'm just stabbing here, but I want to say 85% of projects, the teams aren't showing up like they should. And
Yeah.
I'm not slandering, I'm not throwing any dirt out there. I'm just calling it as it is. The number's
Yeah.
probably higher. I'm being nice, but it's very rare do you see a team show up every day. If you got a founder and a team like community managers that are in the server every day, like no matter what, you always see them in the server. They're always there. They're always in the chat sometime during the day. Like that says a lot because they're not like just like, oh, whatever. I got the weekend. I'm going out with my family.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? They're still checking in the Discord. They're still talking to the community. They're still showing up. They might get quiet at times, but they're still in chat, whether it be like once or twice a day. They're still showing up and at least answering some questions. Or, you know, and like me, when I worked with teams, if I would tag somebody on the team in a team chat and they wouldn't answer me for like 2 days, I would start saying, hey, okay, these guys they're not really here for this. Because if I'm tagging you and I'm part of the team and I'm tagging you in team chat to ask you a question, something that needs to be done, and you don't get back to me for 2 days, there's an issue. Whereas some of the teams I work with, like if I ping Vince, like he answers me immediately unless he's sleeping, you know. Same thing with like
DMs, like, hey, you didn't answer me quick enough. What are you doing?
Yeah, same thing with like Carlos and those guys. If I ping them in chat, they answer me immediately, and they're across the world. They're over in Indo and UK, and Vince is in Malta. You know, I'm over here in the States chilling. You know,
man, you're saying that's funny because like people say like, oh, I'm too busy all the time. I can't get there. It's like, man, I think everybody's busy. I think everybody can make time. I think it's always a choice, and I believe that all the way deep down in my soul because I know that I have to make time for things sometimes, and I have to schedule it, and I have to work that. So if I know I can do it, I'm not the only person in this world thinking these things. Like I know other people would just be like, nah, fuck it, I ain't doing that. You know what I mean? And it's just like, dude, time management is the biggest thing here that is going to help you be successful is like sticking to your guns, showing up and using scheduling. Like you got to do that stuff. You got to.
And it's cool because, you know, I usually script this show where I ask a few questions and we kind of drive the conversation around that. But with me and you, it's just like an open book. We're just like just flowing, you know, and usually my questions are, you know, how'd you get here? What are you doing? And where are you heading? And we kind of covered what you're doing because we know what you're doing. You're doing Solana Made Simple. You know, you're out there doing content. You're creating content. I know you do work with a few projects for like marketing. I do see on like your profile, you're listed as a team member of a certain project. So you're still working with teams because I know when we did the degen stuff, we used to be hired as advisors where we would come into people's server and we would overview everything and then give them advice. Hey, this is what you guys should do. And that was what we got hired to do. So I know that's probably what you're still doing because you were good at it then. So I'm sure you've even gotten better at it now. But what's your future look like in this space? Now, I know you say you want to quit your job. You want to do this full time. I get that. But like, do you see yourself finding like a project yourself? Do you see yourself just going heads on in the content in this space and never like being involved with an NFT project as much? Or do you like, what's your future look like, man? Like, where are you heading?
Well, just to clarify, right now, like I am only working with one media agency and I'm working with the one project. Just as the marketing with them. But going forward with Solana Made Simple with SMS, my goal is to create a community where, I mean, as far as job wise, that's not my outlet. It's just a community for that end. There'd be other things that come with it, like other, you know, merchandise, apparel, artwork. Like something I really am interested in is creating digital art and just creating art in general. So that's something I'm looking more into as far as the one-on-one stuff. But that's just kind of like side stuff. Like the big picture, what I would like to do is definitely work with a core team, like work close, like 24/7. Like I thought that I was, and I found out I wasn't even on the team with one of the last gigs. I was like, oh shit, like my mentality, the way I was operating was to that capacity. So I'm still pretty much in that position, more or less of my how I'm kind of getting through everything and quitting the job. Like I only do this now. Like I was working as a server, just doing a little bit of money, but I made more money doing this tenfold. So I've just been very strategically investing and putting funds away to get me through it. But as far as like what I'm doing, I'm still looking. Growing as a marketer, I've applied to a couple like big blockchains, like bigger things, not just NFT stuff, because I would like to work in just news and like not news, but like media content and all of that, I guess, full time. It's just not exactly sure where I want to go with it. Still trying to figure out where this market's going for the most part, but content heavy, art heavy is the main focus. But as far as the money, like I've just been finding more opportunity, more results with investing and making some long-term decisions. Like I'm also starting as an apprentice to tattoo. I literally started that probably like 2 weeks ago. So I've been doing that, studying up on that, and I'll be doing that live in a couple months. So that's
Nice.
just kind of like when you're saying when do I want to retire, 40 was when I was going to start tattooing. So now I have an apprenticeship for about 3 years, and I'll be able to do that on the way out. So I mean, I'm also looking in investing into real estate and a couple properties with my tattoo artist, which is my apprentice, or I'm apprenticing underneath him. So like doing a lot of like the crypto stuff and all of this gave me opportunity to start other things.
Yep.
I never looked at crypto as I'm going to continuously make money in crypto. And like your goal is to get to a certain point and be able to grow from that. This should be your seed funding round or something like that. This should be your nest egg or something, at least the way I look at it, because I wanted the freedom to do and create as if all I want. If I could make it to the point where I don't have to work, I would just do art all of the time. I would get to the point where I'm traveling doing art and tattooing and traveling, just bottom line doing that. But that's kind of where I'm at. I mean, I'll always be involved with this, making content in crypto, I think, until like it's just if it just goes away, I feel like I've nestled myself into this where this is where I want to be as it develops and grows. Like I'm just some people are going to have to pay for what we know at some point because there's so much information invested into this. You know what I mean? Like
Yep.
there will be a point that we are the teachers, we are the future. When people say Solana is the future, I'm like, you don't realize we are the future of Solana. We are the future of crypto. We're the future of this. All a couple thousand of us that stuck around in the bear decided to build stuff. Like we are building it for the next people to come over here. Some of the stuff that Ethereum guys were saying, like you guys just being in here, making the stuff available, making videos available, making media stuff available. Like you're building the future for us here because we can just go click stuff now. We don't have to run into errors. Like when I got drained and I had issues, I made a video about that, the whole entire process, and broke down the difference of a seed phrase and accounts in a wallet because nobody told me that. These Ethereum guys coming over there like, oh shit, I'm glad you told me that. Like I had no idea. And I'm like, see, like you guys have been here how long? They're like, long enough. I should have known that. But it's just that's what I want to bring to the table. I have a couple ideas. Like I've been writing a book, kind of with Solana Made Simple and like the history of that. So there's a lot of things I have in the pipeline, but it's just as long as I'm having fun, I'm just going to keep working on them. And I mean, I have a couple targets and goals and like things that I want to do. So it's just I'll be unraveling them as I get to them. It's just one thing at a time. And I mean, nothing. There's no major big goal. It's just like live the life I want to and just keep going. Like I'll never stop grinding and never stop working. So it's just like I don't know what the end goal is. I mean, I guess I'll tell you if I get there, but like people said, like when are you gonna stop? I'm like, when I have to. Like just like when I have to. But
yeah, I mean, I just want to encourage you to continue on the path you're on because as I said, personally, I have observed the growth over the last two and a half years that I've known you. Because I think we met the end of 2021.
Yep.
And I've seen you grow exponentially. Like when we worked together, even in the podcast project till now has been incredible growth. So it's awesome to see, man. I just encourage you to continue on creating content, doing you, being yourself. Fuck everybody else. Just do you. Don't hold back. Keep being real on the timeline. I appreciate the honesty sometimes. Pick your fights. Do what you got to do. I will encourage anybody that's here, go and support Sean. I'm going to put his YouTube in the channel. That's his YouTube. His Twitter is linked in the description, so go follow him on Twitter, and his YouTube is on his Twitter. So if you can't click the link or you don't see it if you're watching on like Twitch and it didn't come over there, just go to the video description on the YouTube, just click on the video, go over there, and you can get his Twitter from there. Go follow Sean. He's doing great things in the space. He's trying to educate, and Sean, I've always been big on education in this space, so I love to see it and continue it.
I appreciate it.
Yeah, man, much love to you, bro. And I'm done. I just want to wrap this up because I know me and you could talk for hours. And who knows? We could probably do another show later down the line. And lastly, I just want to tell you that I appreciate you, man. Like everything that you've done, everything I've seen you do, and the friendship that we've had in this space, I appreciate that. And I just want to let you know that I do appreciate that.
Sure, brother.
Yeah, and I just want to wrap it up, and I'm sure you remember me. I used to always say this on our podcast, is just want to thank everybody here for their time because time is more valuable than that coin you're chasing. Love your time, experience your time, make sure that you appreciate your time because there's no money and no currency in the world that's more valuable than your time. So when you come and spend time with us, and I'm sure Sean feels the same way when you go and view him on Twitter and on YouTube, that time is appreciated. That hour you spend with us just hanging out, even if you're not talking, you just got us on in the background. Much love to you guys out there. Do something positive for somebody today, tomorrow, wherever it is in the world. Let's change the space. Let's get away from the toxicity, guys. Let's make it more positive. We can do it one person at a time. So just be nice to somebody. You know, if someone gets toxic, just mute them on the timeline. It's really easy, guys. Just cut it out. But Sean, you got anything you want to say before we wrap up the show?
Yeah, I just want to say, man, like one thing I always tell people is hold enough doors, somebody's going to end up holding the door for you, and keep it simple. It's just that, like that.
Yeah, Sean made simple. See, gotta play on the initials. Gotta play on the initials, guys. I will be having another deep dive show in 2 weeks with a good friend of mine. I just was booking it prior to this show, actually. Somebody else I've known in the space since my early days. So I'm excited to see that. Once I confirm everything, I'll make the video and we'll put it out there. And we got a bunch of shows coming up, guys. Vince is nonstop, so just check out the YouTube, and we'll see you guys in the next show. Later, guys.
Take it easy, man.